Santorini volcano. Is the danger in the depths of the Aegean imminent? The Pearl of the Aegean Sea, Santorini Island, has been on the agenda again with the recent increase in seismic activity. So, what does this activity mean? In the event of a possible volcanic eruption, which regions will be affected and how? What are the life-threatening risks on the coasts of Turkey and Greece? Let's examine the answers to these questions together. Current status of the Santorini volcano and the possibility of an eruption. The recent increase in seismic activity in the Aegean Sea has raised concerns that the Santorini volcano may become active again. More than 570 earthquakes have been recorded in the region since January 28. However, experts state that the current earthquakes do not indicate a volcanic eruption. Professor Dr. Bülent Kaypak from the Geophysical Engineering Department of Ankara University said, "There is a possibility that ongoing seismic activity could lead to possible volcanic activity." However, similar seismic activity occurred in the same region in 2011, 2012, and there was no major eruption, he explained. Earthquake intensity and effects in a possible eruption. In the event of an eruption of the Santorini volcano, the intensity and impact area of the earthquakes that may occur depend on the magnitude and nature of the eruption. According to geophysical engineer Professor Dr. Özgen Ahmet Erkan, such an eruption could cause earthquakes between magnitudes 5 and 7. These tremors can be felt especially in cities on the Aegean coast such as Izmir, Aydın, Muğla and Çanakkale. However, these earthquakes are not expected to be of a magnitude that will completely end life. Nevertheless, the durability of structures and the preparedness of the public are of vital importance. Tsunami risk and affected areas. A major volcanic eruption can cause tsunamis by causing sudden displacements on the seabed. Tsunami waves of up to 20 meters were recorded after the 7.7 magnitude earthquake that occurred near Santorini in 1956. In a similar scenario, the coasts of Turkey and Greece, especially those bordering the Aegean Sea, could be affected by a tsunami. Professor Dr. Özgen Ahmet Erkan stated, "A large eruption could increase seismic activity in the region and cause earthquakes that would be felt on the coasts of Turkey." Trithaba.com. Type of volcanic eruption and potential hazards. Volcanic eruptions are usually characterized by lava flows and ash eruptions. When the past eruptions of the Santorini volcano are examined, it is seen that both lava flows and intense ash eruptions have occurred. If the Santorini volcano erupts unexpectedly, this could have serious consequences. In history, in the Great Eruption that took place in 1600 BC, the inhabitants of the ancient Minoan civilization felt the ground shaking slightly one morning. A huge black cloud rising into the sky was a sign of disaster. The air temperature dropped, the sky darkened, and giant waves began to reach the shores. What is the danger status for Europe? This brought the end of civilization and led to widespread tsunamis. A similar eruption today could create effects such as lava flows, intense ash clouds, and tsunamis. While the lava flows caused physical destruction in the immediate vicinity of the island, the ash clouds spreading into the atmosphere could affect a wider geography. Ash clouds can disrupt air traffic, damage farmland and cause respiratory illnesses. Impacts on life on the coasts of Turkey and Greece. A possible volcanic eruption and a tsunami that may follow can pose serious threats, especially in coastal areas. Tsunami waves can cause flooding, infrastructure damage and loss of life in coastal settlements. In addition, volcanic ash falling on agricultural lands can negatively affect crop productivity. The spread of ash clouds in volcanic eruptions and how ash and gases in the atmosphere can affect aircraft can be summarized as follows. 1. Spread of ash clouds. Volcanic ash can be carried hundreds or even thousands of kilometers by winds after an eruption. Ash clouds can rise to the stratosphere and affect air traffic and climate. 2. Effects on aircraft. Crushed rocks, gases and small pieces of glass in ash clouds can cause the exterior of the aircraft to erode or become covered with sand. They can also melt inside jet engines, causing engine failure and burning out navigational and communication systems. There is no direct information about the shock waves that hot lava will create when it reaches the sea. However, the effects that volcanic eruptions can have on the sea can include tsunamis and warming of seawater. However, in such disaster scenarios, the extent of the effects will vary depending on the intensity of the eruption, the epicenter, and the measures taken. So, could this really happen soon? Being prepared saves lives. A possible eruption of the Santorini volcano could increase the risk of earthquakes and tsunamis in the Aegean region. However, having the right information, ensuring the earthquake resistance of structures, and creating emergency plans are critical to minimizing the negative effects of such natural disasters. After the eruption, it is also important to wear a mask to avoid inhaling volcanic ash, to create shelter inside against ash fall, and to prepare a disaster and emergency kit. In addition, updating or having insurance for your home and vehicle will protect you from possible damage. During a volcanic eruption, it is vital to follow official press and publications, to evacuate as soon as possible when a regional evacuation decision is made, and to close doors, windows, and ventilation systems. It should not be forgotten to protect your skin, eyes, and any open wounds from falling ash. In addition, it is important to get approval from the authorities to return to your living space after the eruption, to make emergency calls only, and to use SMS to communicate with family and friends. Let's not forget that natural disasters can always happen at unexpected times, but being prepared saves lives. What about the activity of Mount Etna? What is the danger status for Europe? Which volcano poses a greater threat? Mount Etna, located on the Italian island of Sicily, is one of the most active volcanoes in Europe. The lava flows and ash eruptions that began on February 8 have negatively affected air traffic in the region and caused flights to be disrupted at Catania Airport. However, such eruptions usually have local effects and do not pose a widespread danger. Therefore, Etna's current activities are not considered a major threat in Europe. Although Santorini and Etna volcanoes are located in different regions, both carry potential risks. However, according to current data, the probability of a major eruption of Santorini volcano in the near future seems low. Although Mount Etna continues its active activities, its effects are generally localized. Therefore, it is important to monitor both volcanoes regularly and take the necessary precautions. If you want to see more of this type of content and be informed about the latest information, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like our video, and turn on notifications. You can share your opinions and questions with us in the comments section. See you in our next video.